All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Tuesday, June 3rd. We got a 15-game full MLB slate to dive into in today's video. Like we always do, I'm going to dive into each and every one of these games. I'll give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. We'll talk about any other plays like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, guys, keep an eye down on the pinned comment of this video. That'll take you to all of my final plays so that I'm actually rolling with myself. If that does interest you, if you do want to fade me, all that free down in the pinned comment. All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. I tell you guys I'm a dummy all the time. They don't suck. They've just been sucking. Get them down to -3 for more juice than Jose Canseco in his prime. Tell me you're new without telling me you're new. So don't go jumping down my throat in the comments, right? If you want to fade me, or if you do want to ride me, this still leaves a bad taste in my mouth, right? And remember, more chins, more wins. In terms of yesterday, we have a good night, but man, oh man, the Red Sox. And I got a bunch of comments, and I read those comments being like, you gotta stop betting on your own team. You gotta stop being biased towards the Red Sox. And I try. But we know what it's like as a sports fan, right? And the Red Sox almost did come back and win that, but I will try to not be as biased towards them. But it's not like I was taking them against the Dodgers. They were playing the Angels. I thought it was a decent look. Ultimately, that's our only loss. It was our biggest play, but we did hit the Padres money line and run line there. Plus 162 on the damn money line. And we also had a player prop in that game as well. So decent night overall. It's just unfortunate the one pick that, yeah, maybe I was kind of sort of biased with comes through at a loss there. Speaking of a loss, and I hate to do it to my man Dante, I know it's a little small on the screen, but the ride of the day streak comes to an end. You can see here Dante now in second with the ride of the day, both from a streak and profit perspective. Jonathan Cannon under 4.5 strikeouts. Cannon ends with 5. Got to drop a womp just according to the rules there. And it is unfortunate because Dante threw out a play that was just outside of the qualifying number at -150. So we had to ask for a second one. So if you guys saw his comment about Logan Webb over in strikeouts, that did come through. So unfortunately, that one didn't qualify. So shout out to Dante for the streak of the ride of the day, doing a lot for the community, and for that Logan Webb strikeout play. His second play ultimately did not come through. If you guys are watching this being like, what the heck is the ride of the day? It's simple. Just use that hashtag ride of the day down in the comments. I jump on board with one person's play each and every day. Give you a shout out in the next video, win or loss. If you guys do hit your play and I pick you, we keep rolling with you until the wheels fall off so you can see what your streak is now that we have the tracker up there. So yeah, get those hashtag ride of the days down in the comments. But all right, enough rambling. Let's ramble some more about some games here. We got 15 games. Let's jump into it. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Starting off with Miami taking on Colorado. Sandy Alcantara on the mound going up against Chase Dollander. I don't think there's any question as to who is the better pitcher, but I would say these guys' numbers are quite similar. Even Dollander might be having a better season in terms of numbers. I still trust Sandy Alcantara or Alcantara a little bit more than I do Dollander, and you do have the Miami lineup coming off of a loss to the said team yesterday. So if you can get a good price for Miami, I don't really mind them here. Yes, Alcantara's been honestly, like, it's sad how bad he's been this year because that dude was dominant for a stretch, right? Back in his Cy Young time. But in this case, their offense is better. Their starting pitching should have somewhat of an edge. And the bullpen, who knows what happens there? At the very least, if the bullpens are both bad, then the better offense should take over. So give me the Marlins here in this spot. I also don't mind the idea of an over. I can't fully back Alcantara yet, but if you can get the Marlins inside -160, I think that's going to be tough right now, but maybe on some of the exchanges, then I like it. Give me the Marlins in the over, and that's probably all I'm looking at in this one. Moving on, we got Skeens and the Pirates taking on Lance McCullers and the Astros. I think I want to start with the total in this one. I don't mind the idea of a first 5 under. It's at -160 now, which is very expensive, but if you look around in the market, and that's on MGM, right? You look around in the market, and this is in the -175s, -180s at some books. So I do think that -160 may have a little bit of sneaky value there, which is kind of crazy to say, but that's kind of where I'm coming out, right? So I don't mind the under 4.5 here. You have Skeens in the mound. We should be able to trust him. And then you have a Pittsburgh offense that isn't all that tremendous going up against a pitcher that hopefully just needs to hang in there. Even if Pittsburgh scores like 2 or 3 in the first 5, hopefully Skeens can hold that Astros team to, 1 or so. So yeah, I don't mind the idea there of the first 5 under. In terms of a money line, yeah, I guess Paul Skeens at -148 probably be what I look at, but I do always worry about that Pittsburgh offense, right? Like, they aren't very good. At home this year, they're averaging just 3.3 runs scored per game. The good news is the Astros actually haven't been all that great on the road either, so I'll lean full game under as well. But yeah, give me Pittsburgh in the first 5 under, and then maybe a full game under. And then there could be some player props. I don't have any to share as of right now, but I wouldn't be surprised if we toss in some Houston under hits, runs, and RBIs, kind of trying to back Paul Skeens here. But if I do that, I'll make sure to give a little blurb on the website as to why I do like that play, because we didn't talk about it in the video. All right, moving on to Washington taking on Chicago. We had Trevor Williams on the mound going up against Cade Horton. I guess you could say advantage to Washington just based on experience on the pitching side of things, but I don't think Cade Horton's in the worst spot here. He's going to throw a lot of fastballs and sliders, and that is just kind of where Washington ranks middle of the pack over the last 30 days in terms of runs above average. Trevor Williams on the other side of things does really, really struggle against the left-handed bats. So Pete Crow Armstrong, even Tucker there could have decent days. I'm going to say that the offense reigns supreme here. Now, we have seen really good Washington offense lately, but that's been away from home. And they also just scored 1 run in their last game, right? The Cubs have been on a little bit of a homestand, and the weather has been bad, right? Against Colorado and then Cincinnati. When I say weather, it's just wind blowing in, and that matters a ton at Wrigley. So Chicago being here with some decent conditions in Washington, I think it's going to be like slight winds blowing out, 81 degrees. Like, it's almost like Chicago's been waiting for some decent weather to score some damn runs. So I'm going to lean Chicago in this spot. They're a little pricey right now, I will say that. So maybe we take a peek at their team total over if we do like them. And that also kind of eliminates the idea of us really having to back Horton. You know what I mean? So yeah, maybe team total over for the Cubs is kind of the hybrid approach between both the over as well as the money line side of things. I don't mind the full game over, because like I said, I do think that this Washington offense has been scoring. I just worry that that 1 run is kind of bringing them back down to earth, and are they going to go on a little bit of a streak here, right? So yeah, Chicago, their team total over, but I don't hate that full game over either. All right, guys, real quick before we do move on with the rest of the games, I want to talk to you about Prize Picks. It is Tuesday, and they'll be running their promotion, the best promotion out there, Taco Tuesday. And that's not all. That's not all, like a car salesman. You're also going to get this deal still, which is an absolute no-brainer. I don't know how everyone doesn't race to the window to pick this deal up. You play $5 as a new user, you get $50 instantly. That one entry of $5, you 10x it right away. You're well on your way to building a nice little bankroll over there on PrizePicks. And what if that entry does hit and it pays out? You still get that payout as well, right? So go ahead and check it out, guys. Talking to you about PrizePicks all the time. The biggest thing I can say is how fun, easy, and kind of innovative it is. They're constantly changing the look of it, making it easier for guys like you and me and girls to be able to go out there and get some more action down on the games. And with all the promotions, it's awesome. So go ahead and check out PrizePicks. If you guys don't know what Taco Tuesday is, I know I referenced it. All they do is discount multiple plays throughout the day, so we have better chances of hitting those, right? They'll take a guy's strikeout line from 7.5, knock it down to 4.5 or 5.5 or something like that. So go ahead and check out PrizePicks, guys. That link will be down in the description as well as the pinned comment, or just download the PrizePicks app or to get it on the computer there and use code GUYBOSTON when signing up. You'll get this deal and obviously all of the promotions that we talked about. But all right, let's go ahead and jump back into these games. All right, next up here, we got the Yankees taking on Cleveland. I think I originally, and probably still do, like the idea of the Yankees in the first 5 on the run line. You can get that from -130. I just think that the offense for Cleveland is really nothing too consistent as of right now. Now, you might sit there and be like, well, 3 of the last 4 games, they scored 7, 4, and 7, right? Right. But they also are very capable right now of dropping 1 or 2 in a game, and they're going up against a lefty in Carlos Rodon. I don't know how much I'm going to trust them against him, because he's been fantastically, like literally, even pitched against them earlier this year in Cleveland, 7 innings pitched, 0 earned runs, 8 strikeouts. So Rodon has some decent numbers here against this squad. I think the Yankees can get a couple off of Tanner Bybee. I do like Tanner Bybee, so I don't want this to come across as like a fading Bybee spot. It's more so being like Yankees offense, Cleveland offense. This could be a 3-1 game, at the end of 5. Tanner Bybee kind of did his job, but it's just the overpowering effects of the Yankees offense, right? So I lean towards them back at home here. First 5 run line, meaning they have to be winning after the first 5. When it comes to a total, I'm not necessarily loving the idea of an over now. I don't think I'm sitting there saying the under is the play. I think by default, I would like the over because I do, again, kind of think that the Yankees get some runs here. But this very well could be like a 4-3, 5-3 type of a game, which is very close to that total, right? If the Guardians do get to Rodon a little bit and maybe get to that bullpen, then they might get to that 4 number. But even right now, going off the team totals, it's going to be pretty damn close. So I think this is a pretty efficient line. I'm going to lean slightly towards the over because we do have the Yankees involved. But I think that first 5 is going to be the only thing first 5 run line. It's going to be really the only thing that I get to in this game, in all honesty. Toronto taking on Philadelphia. Chris Sanchez on the mound going up against Bowden Francis. I don't necessarily think that this pitching, discrepancy here is going to be as big today as we might think, because Chris Sanchez, though he's been phenomenal, has had a little, and I mean a little, bit of struggle against right-handed bats, and there's a lot of righties in this Toronto lineup, right? I think they only have a couple actual lefties, maybe one switch hitter who's going to be batting righty today because Sanchez is a lefty. So he's phenomenal against lefties. He's also a lot better at home than he is on the road. Now, I'm not backing Bowden Francis. All I'm trying to say is we think this is the gap between these two pitchers, and maybe it's like that, I don't mind the idea of an over. I think the Philadelphia Phillies can put up a decent number today, and hopefully Toronto can, continue to hit the ball well. They haven't been all that terrible of an offense, right? Even their runs 4 in their last 5 games here, 4, I guess I should say, 12, 11, 8, and 8. Now, do we think they're going to keep scoring 8 and 12, especially off of guys like Chris Sanchez? Not necessarily, but this Phillies bullpen hasn't been anything to brag about. And, they have been pretty decent against the pitches that they'll see. They're going to see the sinker, the changeup. They're number 1 over the last 30 days in terms of hitting the changeup. So, yeah, I like the idea of an over 8.5 in this spot. If Sanchez has to, kind of be the one that lets up a little bit, I guess it's going to be tough. But what if the Phillies just have to, hit Bowden Francis and they carry most of the weight? Okay, I'm fine with that too. So I like the idea of an over. I think I saw an 8 out there. That's long gone. So yeah, 8.5 right now, minus 114. Don't necessarily mind it. A lot of plays today, I'm kind of leaning towards a little bit of a half unit action as we have the start of a bunch of new series. So just FYI, what you'll see today, and I always note that with the final plays, probably a lot of half unit action. In terms of what we're coming at from a side perspective, I still do, like I said, it's not this massive gap, but there's still a gap pitching-wise. It's just not as big as people think. I still do lean towards the Phillies. I just don't know what they're doing right now. They've lost 4 straight games. Maybe they needed a change of scenery. Now they're on the road. They're away from their stadium. Give me the Phillies and the over. All right, Red Sox taking on the Angels. I do think this can go either way. So first off, if you like the Red Sox, if you like the Angels, I do think that there's angles to come at both of these. We'll start with the Red Sox angle. I will say I don't think I'm taking the Red Sox today, okay? So fear not, no bias Ev out and about, okay? But Kikuchi has some really bad numbers against this Red Sox team. When I say the Red Sox team, I mean the guys that make up the team, so the actual players, right? He's going to throw a lot of sliders. That's a pitch that the Red Sox do hit very well. We saw what can happen with the Angels bullpen. So there you go. That's kind of the reasoning and rationale as to why we might consider the Red Sox. I like the price of the Angels today, though. At plus 130, you're getting Kikuchi, who is at this point better than Brian Bayo. I think Brian Bayo has a hell of a lot of potential, but potential doesn't matter on the day, right? And you throw in the fact that he's going to throw a lot of sinkers and sliders. The sinker should be a really tough pitch for him to get down today because of the Angels' success at hitting it. And then also the slider, though, I guess the slider, in a sense, is a really good pitch that he could throw. But he has some of those guys that hit well yesterday going up again today who feel comfortable in his ballpark, clearly, with all those home runs. And some of those guys, the slider, like Ward, Adele, we have Trout, like some of these guys can hit the slider well. So I don't think Bayo's in the best spot either. I don't mind the idea of just taking a peek at an over. I'm a little concerned, and I do think it's not this crazy concern, a little concerned in the fact that we just saw a bunch of runs scored, right? Was it 7-6? Do they all of a sudden just have a flat spot here? So I don't know if I fully get to touching this game because of all the bullying in the comments. Just kidding. You guys are probably right. I am biased towards the Red Sox. But there are some player props that I think that we consider yet again. Luis Rengifo, I mean, I hate to keep going back to the well, but he's going to see the sinker slider changeup today. Yes, he's a little bit better than the pitch mix he saw yesterday, but this guy is not getting hits or coming through and scoring, right? Another spot I thought about was actually two more. I think, well, actually we have two more. Actually, there's some on the fringe that we have noted here, too. All right, I'll just go through these quickly then. We have Zach Nato, under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs, just because that is plus money. I like Christian Campbell, under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. He just has not been hitting the lefties, and he's going to see a lot of sliders today from Kikuchi. Don't necessarily love the idea of him. So that's the guy that we would definitely consider, even though he is on the Red Sox. See, I can fade my own guys here. And then there was one more, I believe it was Shanuel, under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. So, yeah, a decent amount of player prop spots here. I think Campbell might be the best look because it's minus 110 right now, and he just hasn't been hitting. Real quick, guys, if you didn't know, we do have an MLB dashboard that we create each and every day and bring to you. I'll explain how to get access to it in just a second, but let me go through what is in the dashboard. We have some team data with runs scored, win rates, first 5 runs per game, that type of thing. We also have the money line as well as the total. Then you have pitcher data here on the left all the way down to the bullpen. We also have pitch mix data, so you know what pitches these pitchers are throwing, which is super crucial, both from game picks perspective and player props. We have batting data for the teams over the last 30 days, both in these 4 little squares here. And then we have player data all the way down to the pitch mix, so you can line it up with the specific pitches, right? If you want access to this dashboard, all you have to do is head over to GuyBostonSports.com, head over to the members area. MLB dashboard is what you'll click on. Now, I'm not logged in, so this will be like what it looks like for you. You click view membership levels, and we're going to have 3 options. You have the all sports dashboard, the NBA, and the MLB only. If you guys are interested in getting every dashboard that we have, which right now it is NBA and MLB, check that price out. But if you just want the MLB, right there, $4.99 per month, less than a Starbucks cup of coffee. If you are logged in, I'll kind of show you what you'll see once you are logged in so you're familiar with it. So we head over to the MLB dashboard right now. We are logged in. And boom, you get this each and every day, broken out all these games in a visual format here. You can see we have all the same data for all the same teams, and there's a lot of white space here. Hint, hint, some other additions are coming to the dash. So go ahead and check it out again, GuyBostonSports.com. Head over to the members area if you do want to support us, but also get a great tool at the same time. Go ahead and check it out. I built this tool to help myself a couple years ago, and we keep adding to it, right? Think about it. I wake up early in the morning, and we have to record a video. I want to get as much information and correct information into this dumb brain as quickly and as efficiently as possible. The dashboard helps me do that. I don't have to go to a million different sites every single morning now or at night, right? We have everything compiled there for you and for me. So go ahead and check it out. All right, Cincinnati taking on Milwaukee. I might be falling into into a trap here for squares, I guess, but I like the idea of a first 500. You have Hunter Green, who's been really good, right? Going up against Freddie Peralta, who's been really good. Both guys throw heavy fastballs. Neither one of these teams is all that tremendous against the fastball. Seems like a first 500 for me. I guess we're getting decent odds. Under 4.5 right now is minus 138. You go to under 5, it's like minus 230. So there's a big gap there with the chance that, 5 runs could score and it's a push. But again, I do kind of like it. I think we're getting the good price because it is in Great American. That is obviously a hitter's ballpark. But we have wind blowing kind of from right field down to the third baseline, which is kind of right? Decent temperature, so I get it. But yeah, I like the idea of first 500. I'm trusting both of these pitchers. Both guys have been looking fairly consistent, right? Hunter Green comes back from the injury, looks pretty good. Freddie Peralta has been pitching fairly well as well. So yeah, go out there and both of them can go 5 innings, 2 earned, and we're looking at a total of 4 in the first 5. If we had to pick a side here, right, I think I would lean towards the home team. I don't fully trust Milwaukee's bats. Yesterday, we kind of gave them a chance, right? I said I lean towards Milwaukee, but they only won 3-2. And the Cincinnati squad, yes, they go up and down. They've now gone 4 of their last 5 games scoring, I think it was either 2 or 3. It was either 3 or less or 2 or less in those games. So they might be on the back end of one of those down ruts now, because this, more than any other team, they literally go 5 games of 6 or 7 runs scored, 5 games of like 2 runs, 5 games of 8. It's pretty crazy. So maybe them being now at home after 1 game bad against Savale, maybe they do put up a few more runs here than they have been. I hope they don't early in the game because we still like the first 5 under. But Cincinnati at home, I think, is the side in a bounce back spot. Atlanta, Arizona, you're putting 2 of my guys against one another. We have Zach Gallen on the bump for Arizona, who is my favorite pitcher. So when I say 2 of my guys, I know which one I like more. Going up against Spencer Strider for the Braves. Gallen and Eovaldi are like my 1 and 2 pitchers in the league, right? So obviously I like Gallen more, but I don't know how much I love him in this situation. I mean, it's almost like the books are telling us that Strider's going to go out there and pitch well, right? And I guess we can't really say Arizona's offensive consistency has fully been there. The good news for Arizona, using our dashboard here, you could see we're going to get a lot of fastballs from Spencer Strider. Arizona number 3 in the league right now in the last 30 days in terms of hitting the fastball. And you can see all but a couple guys, Smith and Thomas, in their projected lineup here, hit the fastball well. The green is good, red is bad, right? Gallen's been a lot better on the road. So I do think that there's some arguments to be made here to take a peek at Arizona. There's just something fishy about the price tag, right? So this might be a game in which I sit back and go, you know what? Let these 2 guys duel it out. I'll watch it as a fan because I kind of want to look at a first 5 under. But both offenses have the capability of going off. Both pitchers, Strider being, coming back from injury, could have a bad day. Gallen's had his fair share of bad days this year. So again, little worrisome for me to go heavy on this one. I do like the idea of the Diamondbacks and potentially a first 5 under, but I'm thinking there's too many arguments to be made on the other side of those for me to actually put my hard-earned bread on it. But that is what I have looked at and what I'm still looking at. I'm just being transparent with you guys. I don't know if I fully get there, again, in terms of placing it. All right, Tampa Bay taking on Texas. I have a few different thoughts on this one. First and foremost, we have Drew Rasmussen on the mound going up against Tyler Mahle. So we do have good pitching. I don't know how much, even though the bullpen numbers are good on both sides, I don't know how much I trust these guys late in the game just based on kind of what we've seen lately. So I was thinking under, but it's also tough at that ballpark, right? I think I'm going first 5 under. Now, there are a lot of ways that this goes over. One of these guys is a bad game and the offenses get hot. Both of these offenses seem like, at least as of late, they're all or nothing type teams, right? So that's good and bad. We're either going to lose this by 1 million or we might comfortably stride in backpedaling on a treadmill into an under. Don't know if that makes sense. I like the idea of an under because we already have the validation of seeing both these pitchers earlier this year in the exact same matchup. Now, this was in Texas, I get that, but 5 innings from Mahle, 0 earned runs, just 1 hit. From Drew Rasmussen, 5 innings from him, 3 hits, just 1 earned run. It was 1-1 at the end of 5. Again, we have all or nothing offenses. I'm kind of hoping for that to be the case. If Mahle's splitter's working, that should look pretty good against Tampa Bay. If we see the fastball working, as well as the cutter and sinker from Drew Rasmussen, these are the main pitches these guys throw, we should be okay. So I'm going first 5 under here. If I had to pick a side, I would say Texas. I mean, again, you have 2 all or nothing type squads. Why not take the plus money here in this spot? But I do agree that Tampa Bay's bullpen, even though I'm saying I don't know how much I love them, they are the better bullpen, right? We can't really deny that. I believe we had at least one player prop I wanted to bring up in this one. Let me make sure. Texas versus Tampa Bay. Jonah Heim here under, actually Semien as well. And Josh Smith, we have 3. So Jonah Heim under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs, struggles against the right hand, the fastball, the cutter, and the sinker. The fastball, those are the 3 pitches, right? The fastball, he doesn't hit well, which he's going to see about 33% of the time. The cutter and sinker, he does, so that might keep us off it. Marcus Semien, he's been hot, but still kind of has been stinking on the season. We're going to get the cutter a lot, right? That isn't a pitch that he hits well. And then last but not least, same kind of reasoning here for the Josh Smith side of things. The pitch mix I do like. I think I like the first 5 under more than any of those, FYI, but just kind of sharing those with you because I do think we have decent spots for pitch mixes. Also, didn't have this at the time of talking about that game, but it looks like we're going to have some really bad rain and wind in that game, so that might help that first 5 under as well if it is really rainy. Sometimes the wind kind of correlates the overs, right? I think we're going right to left a little bit, but either way, just wanted to throw out there the fact that there is some weather concerns here, so just keep that in your brain as well. All right, Detroit taking on the White Sox. We have Sawyer Gipson Long on the mound for Detroit. I don't know too much about him. I know that a few years ago he did get some starts, and he honestly didn't look all that terrible. He's been in the minors ever since, and his last minor league start, I believe we have on here. Yeah, 5 1/3, 1 hit, 1 earned run. It was a solo home run, 5 strikeouts, no walks, a whip of .2. So, yeah, obviously he's a good pitcher. He's going up against Shane Smith, though, who I don't like to sit here and rag on. I mean, the only thing you can rag on Shane Smith about is the fact that he has to put a White Sox hat on every single day. He's been fairly decent. Now, obviously, we saw yesterday that this is a clear-cut, I guess, better offense on the Detroit side of things. What did that final score end up being? Yeah, 13-1. So I'm not trying to sit here and tell you that I like the White Sox. I just think Shane Smith might be good enough to not lay a bunch of juice with this Tigers team. So I guess, sound the cycle alarm. By default, I might take a peek at the White Sox, maybe even a first 500. But you have to acknowledge the offense of Detroit, right? Like, I do understand that. So I'm going to lean towards the under, though. But what may keep me off of it would be Detroit's offense. Again, sometimes, guys, when you're going through these processes and you like something, if there's enough, cause on the other end, enough reasoning on the other end to not take it or to be able to combat it, then maybe you just stay away from that, and that's like a net win, right? Because the worst, when you feel confident in something, you know what could kill you, and then all of a sudden, that's what you end up watching happening. You're like, I knew it. Why'd I do it? Like, that's the worst, right? So give me the White Sox and the under, but both of those are kind of crazy. All right, move on to St. Louis taking on the Royals. This Royals offense is still just so peculiar to me. Like, they're starting to look a little bit better in some games, but still just nothing consistent, right? On the road this season, they are averaging 3.39 runs per game against St. Louis's 4.7 at home this year. So I think we have to take a peek at St. Louis. In terms of head-to-head in this matchup here, we saw them just mid-May, right? So I would say, 2 or 3 weeks ago. And it was a 2-1 win in a 3-game series here for St. Louis. I think they do that again today. Lorenzen's on the mound going up against Payante. Last time Payante pitched against this team, it was against Cole Reagans, and he actually got the better of them, right? He went 7 innings in that game. So I do have some trust in him. I don't think Lorenzen is going to get smacked around. I will say that. So I don't want to sit here and be like, oh my God, St. Louis is going to score 1 million or anything like that. I think we could still see an under game. But I would just say, if it's going to be an under game, that gives Kansas City a little bit more credit, a little bit more of a chance. I do admit that. But ultimately, who's going to make the big, offensive play when they need it? Who's going to score the runs when they need it? My money, no pun intended, would be on the Cardinals in that spot right now. In terms of bullpens, we can give, this Kansas City team a little bit of credit. I do think that they actually have the better bullpen over the Cards, so that they kind of have in their pocket. But you have 2 really rested bullpens, obviously, and it's not like this Cardinals bullpen is terrible. They're just kind of middle of the pack. A middle of the pack bullpen against what we consider a pretty bad offense in terms of scoring runs, yeah, it's fine, right? Like, this is a Kansas City team that over the last 30 days is top 10 in average, bottom 10 in WRC+, bottom 10 in all power numbers too. So it's not like they're not getting on base. They just can't score runs. That's a decent recipe for taking the other side. So give me St. Louis in the under. And from a player prop perspective, I don't mind Michael Massey under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. He's only done this in 3 of his last 10 games. On the season, he stayed under in 35 of 52. On the road, 16 of 26. And on the road against righties, 12 of 22. What I do like is the fact that the fastball and the slider, the 2 main pitches that we're going to see from him, his WOBA is 197 and 171. So I do like the spot here. Hopefully, Payante can kind of keep him almost out of the game to some degree. But that aligns perfectly with me also liking the idea of, some under action in this one, right? Like, I don't think there's going to be that many, knock on wood, that many RBI or runs opportunities for Massey. And that is obviously 2/3 of what this stat is with the hits, runs, and RBIs. So I think we can expect that to be a final play as well. I do like the odds there. I think it's right around -135, -140, which is fair for a guy trending in this direction. All right, Seattle taking on Baltimore. We got Sagano on the mound going up against George Kirby. Now, George Kirby is kind of the question mark in this one for the play we like. And surprise, surprise, the guy that loves every first 500 on the damn board likes another first 500, right? Sugano, which is crazy. I didn't have this ready to go, but it's crazy to know this stat now. Sagano, this season, right? 73% of his games, he's hit the first 500. I believe that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of 11. On the road, all 5 of his games have gone under. And most of the time, it's the Orioles making it a sweat scoring, which is crazy because this Orioles team offense is not all that great. George Kirby, like I said, which is crazy that he's the wild card, is the wild card. He has 2 starts, and he's gotten hit up in both of them, Houston and Washington. I think those offenses are both a lot better than what we're seeing from Baltimore. Now, I'm going to give Baltimore credit. They're kind of sort of starting to hit. This Baltimore team that was struggling to get 2 runs at one point is now kind of like on that little cusp of 3 or 4 runs per game. So that's fine, okay? But I do like George Kirby now with a couple starts under his belt, maybe finally getting it back into gear. We know he's not going to walk a lot of guys. That's his thing. And in his career against the current guys that make up this roster, 61 plate appearances against, a 208 expected batting average against, a expected WOBA of 255, 1.6 walk rate. George Kirby, go do your damn thing. Let's stop, dicking around here. Let's have a good day. So we're going to go first 5 under in this one. Not necessarily sure if I go 4.5 or pay the juice for 5.5. We might even just split our play because we're getting good odds at 4.5, but there's also some decent odds out there at 5, which again, yeah, that's pretty pricey, but MGM at -165, which is kind of as far as I'd go. Other books in the -170s. So maybe we split it, kind of, having a little bit of a safety net here. We go most of it on the 4.5 and then a little bit on that 5 as some sort of again, diversifying our portfolio there. We'll see. In terms of a side here, I'm going to lean towards, George Kirby and the Mariners. I think that this is a good spot for him to be back. The odds there say -162. I believe you can get them for a way better price. Yeah, right now you can get them for in the mid 130s to -140. So that's just an old number. So if you like Seattle, you like their bullpen against this squad, because Baltimore's bullpen, yikes, right? I do think this is a decent spot here. So yeah, give me Seattle as well as the under, but first 5 under specifically. Real quick, a player prop, Leody Taveras here, under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. Just a little bit of a sprinkle. You're paying the juice, but it's another play in which you're getting the -160 here, but everywhere else it's in the -180. So, yeah, a lot of people be like, that's too much of a price tag and whatnot. I view this as, 1, a good spot in terms of the pitch mix, and 2, 20 cents of value compared to any other book. So I like the play, but only if you can get it in the -160s. The price is important for that one. San Francisco taking on San Diego. Boy, oh boy, did we squeak this one out yesterday. Now we have a pitcher on the mound who I don't know too much about, Ryan Bergert, going up against Landon Rupp. I would still say San Diego is the play, and you'll even notice, guys, comment DNB if you made it this far into the video first and foremost, because the Padres came through for us, right? And we kind of went off the beaten track and beaten path, wherever it is, and said, you know what, the Padres are a good price. They're on our DMB graveyard, but let's remove them. If they come through, we're good. You'll notice only Brian Reynolds and Jonathan India now on the DMB graveyard. Maybe I should put the damn Red Sox on this thing, but the Padres are clean. They're good. They got us back nice enough and cashed for us yesterday, so we're okay with rolling with them. If you guys don't know what the DMB graveyard is, it's essentially our do not bet list. We just have a little bit more fun with it with the graveyard. So comment DMB graveyard if you guys made it this far into the video. I would still go Padres again today. I'm not the biggest Rupp fan. I was at the beginning of the year. I was kind of hoping that I was early on the kid and talking about how I like his potential and whatnot, but hasn't been able to locate those like the curveball specifically, right? That's one of the big movers for him. Hasn't been able to look and look like filthy with that yet. He still has potential, but to me, if this Padres offense even scores a few off of him, I don't know what we're gonna get necessarily out of Bergert on the other side. So this is kind of like a throwing something in the air and seeing which way the wind blows. But I do like the Padres here because they're plus money yet again. In terms of a total, I guess over. I don't have the biggest amount of trust in either one of these squads, but again, understand that this is one that we're kind of blowing through because a lot of question marks. Athletics taking on the Twins. What was that final score of the game yesterday? Because I was kind of kicking myself for it. Yeah, 10-4. If you watch back yesterday's video, I was like, how do we not just roll with the Twins? Is the Twins spot? And we almost did roll with them, right? What were they? -1, I think 48 when we saw them, closing way after, like way further than that. So wish we did. We didn't. Unfortunately, we still had a good day, right? Now you get the battle of the Lopez brothers. Don't know if they're actually brothers, but they have the same last name. Pablo versus Jacob. What do you think, right? This is obviously a Pablo Lopez spot. He's a lot better than Jacob Lopez. He's going to throw a lot of fastballs, though, which would concern me, and his changeups concern me against this A's lineup. So for the price, I don't think that I like the idea of Minnesota all that much. What I can feel a little bit more comfortable with is maybe an over or a team total over for Minnesota. If the A's do and are able to get a little bit off of Pablo, great, but who's to say Jacob Lopez can do anything against this Minnesota lineup, right? So I like the idea of an over, maybe a team total over for Minnesota specifically. All right, last game of the night, we got Kershaw and the Dodgers against Tyler McGill and the Mets. This is going to be a Dodgers spot for me, and I might even roll with it for a couple different reasons. They are at home. They do have a lefty on the mound, right? And this Mets team isn't all that tremendous at hitting lefties. Now, Kershaw has definitely been someone that we can be concerned with. I will fully admit that. This is obviously not Clayton Kershaw of old, right? But you still have the Dodgers offense behind him. McGill has been good, but like at the same time, they should be able to kind of hit him. He's going to throw a lot of fastballs, a lot of like any pitch the Dodgers are going to be able to hit, right? And they're coming off a loss at home. Just kind of makes sense to me. So I guess I would lean towards an over as well, because this is not necessarily a play backing the Dodgers pitching. It's more so backing the Dodgers offense. So yeah, an over, I guess, or a team total over. But I don't mind the Dodgers on the money line here. I think that we could see a decent spot out of them here today. Like I said, and also an over. But guys, it's going to wrap it up for today's show. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you did, go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button down below. Get those hashtag ride of the days in there because we're looking for someone new today. I'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.